Greetings, episode number 62, LuchaWorld. We cover so much from the shores of Walnut Hills, California, where the pinwheels turn, where the papaya. How are things in California? Papaya. We have so much to cover tonight.
We should warn people that you haven't had any sleep.
I've had no sleep in a long time.
So Kurt might be a little crazy today.
I feel great.
Not to worry though. We got plenty to talk about.
Yes,
so.
Fredo and the Freak. We have so much to talk about. We have Triplemania. We have anniversary of CMLL. We have so much to cover. We have the Casas dynasty, the Barrasso dynasty, and the Kelly dynasty. Yes, I have not talked about the Kelly family for quite some time.
We're skipping the Kelly family.
Okay. Well, I just wanted people to know I have not forgot their love of the Kelly family and all the multiple requests I have gotten for me to have a Kelly family segment in every edition of Lucha World.
I'm surprised nobody's told you to stop with that stuff. They should send you the email. You're the one that gives out the email address.
The perfect opportunity to throw it out there. My email, Liger.
For my sake, tell them to stop talking about the Kelly family.
Liger. LYGER@AOL.com. Or the easier way is to just look up Vandal Drummond on Facebook.
And Twitter, too.
And Twitter, too, yes. Vandal Drummond.
You were able to actually get that on Twitter, too, which is...
This is true, yes.
I don't know if it's surprising or...
I need to frequent Twitter more frequently. Wait. You can tell I like it. If I frequent it more frequent, I need to frequent Twitter. I occasion Twitter. I'm
Kurt, if you're already confused with this, wait till I start talking about Triplemania. No, just kidding.
Okay, so as I promised every one of you, I did not watch Triplemania. So
can't believe that, Kurt. And it was on iPay-per-view. It was actually better than last year, so
that's not.
I know. When people say it wasn't as bad as last year, and I think the people who didn't watch it are thinking, well, that's not a difficult thing to accomplish, but it actually was a little bit better. There was some stuff. AAA still does a lot of stuff that just like blows your mind that they're even doing this stuff where it just confuses you. But the weird thing was just figuring out how to get that iPay-per-view to work. For about the first 10-15 minutes, I seriously thought my bad luck with AAA iPay-per-views was going to continue, because I could not figure out how to get the show to work.
That's right, because this would make it the third year in a row where you had trouble accessing Triplemania.
Yeah, excluding the pay-per-view, the actual pay-per-view that was televised. But it was funny because I thought, man, am I the only person that hasn't figured this out? So I go on Twitter and I see a couple of people are like, How do we get this to figure? Because all you see, you've ordered the AAA iPay-per-view, have you?
Last year I did, yes.
Yeah, where it has that video screen that just keeps playing the internet pay-per-view ad.
Yes.
And then it finally starts the show. Well, it didn't do it this time, so it just kept playing it. So we're like, what are we supposed to press? So then people are telling us, click on the flag and switch it to the American feed. That wouldn't work. So what ended up happening, what you had to click. Was there's other transmissions or something saying like something like that. It's apparently a link. You click on it and this little thing would pop up that said SD, HD, or 3D video. You click on one of those and then the video would work. Oh, I was like, my God! Actually, the person that figured it out was Rob Viper.
Wouldn't it have blown your mind if finally you pushed one of those buttons and you heard a voice go, Blog Talk Radio.
That would. Remember, that used to be so.
Slam and stand.
Yeah. So finally, I got it to work mid Battle Royale, which I heard was really bad.
Battle Royales usually
just it's worse because now it's like they're not as they don't have stars
Right.
So it's funny. Like the only thing I was interested in was to find out who was the surprise luchador, and then it ended up being Argenis, which he's already a AAA guy, so it wasn't that surprising.
Yeah, what a surprise.
Yeah. So then that part of that match, it was for the Copa Triplemania.
Mm-hmm.
And that part was bad. It ended up being Daga and Australian Suicide, and they had a good 5-minute match. And first thing I thought was those 5 minutes were way better than anything on the last year's Triplemania.
It's almost like, why not just have some scenario where they wound up having a singles match?
Yeah, so
instead of a silly.
Australian Suicide ended up winning, and Daga destroyed the Copa, the cup. He destroyed it, beat down Australian Suicide. I think they're going to set up something. I think they're having something happen later this in October for their next show. I'm not sure, but we were all shocked because La Parca didn't win. That's usually one of his things where he wins. But that match was pretty skippable. The next one was Averno Chessmen versus the Apache Sisters.
Oh, how was that?
With Gran Apache as the special ref. It was very bloody. They actually had
the women juiced too?
Yeah, the women were the one that juiced. No, Fabi was the one that juiced.
Wow.
She got hit by a light tube or something and bled. Gran Apache had to get involved and help his daughters. But it ended up Ricky Marvin did a run-in to help Averno and Chessman, and they just they did a beatdown on the entire Apache family.
Wow.
Ricky Marvin, they had I think they had new shirts with the letters OGT, which was standing for Ojete, which is
what's Ojete?
Ojete. I think it's slang for like assholes in Spanish, which I thought was kind of cool.
Are they gonna come here to LA to meet the LA fuckers?
the LA fuckers versus the AAA assholes.
That's right. And then we got to get a culero team.
Yes,
too.
culeros. It's the Mexico City culeros or something. Yeah, that match it didn't do much for me. It wasn't that. It was it's funny because you've seen the Apache Sisters when they worked with the Traumas. I think we brought this up on one of the shows where we were talking about Triplemania, and that was a really good match. But this one was more like the Averno and Chessman beating down. They did do a couple of dives, but it was mostly Averno and Chessman beating them down. And
what a waste of the Apache Sisters.
It's AAA. Some of the stuff.
I think they're such awesome workers.
Yeah. Then after that, they had a 4-way tag match for the AAA World Tag Team titles. It was Aerostar and Drago won the titles, which was surprising.
Mm-hmm. That is surprising.
Yeah, they beat Jack Evans and Angelico. Garza Jr. subbed for Phoenix, and he teamed with Hijo del Fantasma. And Matt Cross teamed with Paul London. Paul London looked pretty good in that match. I haven't seen him in a while. I thought I think that might have been the best match on the entire card. We even talked about that with Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb said that he thought that was the best match on the card. I don't know if you saw the entire show. I was wondering while we were talking about Triplemania with him. I was wondering if he heard the commentary and all that stuff, but I just didn't want to bring it up. I was like, I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to ruin the mood that we were having. Like, we were having a great time talking to him. So it's like I didn't want to talk.
Well, Paul London's one of those guys who I think is. I haven't seen him in a long time, but it always seems like he's a good worker. But
it's just weird.
I heard he has attitude.
Not weird in a bad way, just weird. I just think he just has really weird ideas and stuff. I've never heard of.
Yeah, because I remember hearing him interview.
I don't think he has a bad attitude. He just likes having a good time. That's more of his weirdness. That's where
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
that's not a bad thing. No, but I remember him talking about his time in WWE, and assuming he was telling as it was, it sounds like he was trying to make calls that somebody who's new in an organization shouldn't be trying to make.
Yeah.
That was just my impression, maybe.
Yeah, the big thing in this match was also that Phoenix no-showed. And he later, I think the next day, he maybe the next day or a couple of days later, he sent out a message via Twitter that the reason he wasn't in Triplemania, they didn't even mention him, that he wasn't there. They said the reason he wasn't there was it was out of his hands. Like,
what?
Out of his hands. It wasn't him. He said this in English. In his first video in English, he said it was out of his control, out of his hands.
Is that intimating that he was pulled from the show or fired, or?
No, so then in Spanish, he said that he was ready for that match.
Mm-hmm.
He was ready for it, but I guess they just decided not to book him because he's now in San Diego. So I wonder if they didn't want to pay to fly him in. Although they flew in like so many people.
Yeah, that seems odd.
Yeah, there's more to it to that. He was replaced by Garza Jr. That was kind of like one of those things where I thought he was all right, but him and they called him and Hijo de Fantasma Los Regios, Los Regios Chocolates or something like that.
No, what's Regio?
Regio is people from Monterrey. That's what they're called. Because Hijo de Fantasma, because he's dark skinned, he calls himself El Chocolate. Chocolate. I think you've seen it on Twitter.
Well, and also every
because every dark
every cinnamon skin or Afro American restaurant on Luchador,
African American, dark skinned. So then I was listening to Conan's podcast, and the guy who does the show with him is the guy who does TV, who's from Monterrey, Aldo Farias, and he was saying like. He's like, I don't like the name. He's like, and also, Hijo de Fantasma, he's not from Monterrey. How could they be the Regios, the chocolate Regios, or whatever the fuck they were calling? I thought it was a corny name. I don't know. Why would you want to call yourself that? But the match was good. I thought the only thing I would nitpick it, there were points where it just felt like they were just doing move after move after move. Mm-hmm. But the finish to the match was really good. I liked the finish. After that, they had Johnny Mundo versus Pentagon Jr. for the AAA Latin American title, and Johnny Mundo won. Pentagon Jr. was accompanied by Taya Valkyrie and Joe Leader. Mm-hmm. Johnny Mundo was accompanied by Hernandez. Hernandez was one of the guys in the battle in the Copa Triplemania. It was weird because I think everybody who was watching this made the comment that Taya. Well, you don't watch Lucha Underground, so you didn't. But I think you might have heard of Johnny Mundo's sidekick in Lucha Underground is Taya Valkyrie.
Yes.
Well, I've said it a few times on the show. It's like obviously,
although I haven't watched it.
Yeah, you've heard it enough from myself and other people that Dave Meltzer's written and all that. So we all brought up how weird it was that she was with Pentagon Jr. and not. Johnny Mundo. So what happens? Very early in the match, she starts arguing with Joe Leader. And everybody's like, oh, it's a towel. Like, you could tell she was going to turn. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, she turned and helped Johnny Mundo win the title from Pentagon Jr. The match was okay. I didn't really I think they could have had a much better match, but I don't know. It kind of seemed like a lot of these guys weren't really as into some of the stuff that they were doing.
I mean, just from what you and other people have told me, it sounds like morale is just not.
It just seemed weird. It just seemed weird. Like it didn't seem. It didn't seem as strong as you would accept. And we talked about that too with certain people.
Yes.
So what was I going to say about this match? I was trying to remember because there was something else after that match, but they basically turned on Pentagon Jr. Taya got a lot of heat from people on Twitter.
No way.
It was funny because I think
leave it to Twitter, not just
I think Instagram too. I don't know, social media in general, where it just seemed weird because Conan had brought up how he had just talked to Hijo Santo for in Tijuana, and they were having this discussion over. I don't remember if I brought this up in the podcast where Conan had said. Hijo Santo asked Conan about his podcast that he had heard. He was doing a podcast where he was breaking kayfabe, and Conan reacted with like, "What do you think? Fans don't know it's think it's real or something?" And so then Hijo Santo said, "Yeah, I think some people do think it's like they don't know it's a work, and." I kind of agree with Santo more than Conan because a lot of people we go to lucha shows. There's people who don't really understand the whole concept.
Understand it, but
in Mexico, there's a lot of if you hear it's weird. You know what it is? I think a lot of people want it done in their way. You know what it is? Like their vision of what they want wrestling to be.
Well, actually,
I think it's more that than actually thinking it's.
Yeah. I don't think they think it's like a real contest because
I think they want their guys to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's more that.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I think they suspend their disbelief. Why are you going to the show? Do you want to just see guys do moves? No, you want to see... It's like when you go to the movies. You want to see a story that has an outcome.
Like, even if you go to PWG, that's known for, like, all this high-flying, all this wrestling stuff, they still have stuff that those fans still are going to react to something that they don't expect, or they want to still believe that there's, like, there's still some sort of... there's still some magic behind the whole,
When I was a little kid, I started watching when I was 10.
Yeah.
And you don't have to watch for very long to see the pattern of a match. Here in LA, it looked like a jobber would be on the verge of winning, and then he'd get KO'd.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long to see that pattern. And my other family members say, that's all fake. And in my childhood mind, to say it's fake was to equivocate it with being something bad.
And that's what I'm saying.
So I say, no, it's not fake. And yeah, you want to watch your movie, and
you want to see this, and that's how it is with any promotion. I mean, even if you go to like a PWG or a Ring of Honor or a New Japan, you still don't want to know who's going to win. You want to that's going to be what you want. That's what excites you about going to see the match. You want to see the match, but then you're shocked. You're shocked at the conclusion of who wins or who loses.
And that was the only thing I didn't like about this year with the anniversary show, about having to wait 2 days, is I did find the outcome of that. Where these last 2 years I loved.
Yeah, because it was like going to a live show, like you're actually watching it as it happens.
And I loved not knowing.
Yeah.
I love saying, I'm pretty certain, he's going to go over, but I'm not 100%. And they've played it well at all these anniversaries.
So somewhere around this segment, I can't remember if it was before or after. I think it might have been before the Pentagon Junior. They decided to do a Hall of Fame, a AAA Hall of Fame inductee, and so they induct Love Machine Art Bar. Mm-hmm. They don't have anybody there to talk about them, which I can understand. Like somebody said, well, they're all dead. I go, well, Vampiro knows them. Unfortunately, Conan isn't there. Yes. But I think Rey Mysterio's there. Hey, I'm sure Rey Mysterio was around him plenty of times. In fact, ask Dan
Farron. Dan Farron went to a lucha show in Compton, where Rey Mysterio was making an appearance. This was just like the week after Art Bar died.
Uh-huh.
Like just maybe even less than a week.
Yeah.
And they announced his death to the crowd, and the Compton crowd, the word had not spread yet. It was that soon after. And when Dan said when they announced it, the whole audience you heard this like gasp.
Yeah.
And just this shock. And then they said they did a 10 count, and he could tell you better than I, but he said Mysterio was very showed a lot of emotion. Like I think even like not just bowed his head, but actually got on his knees. And
yeah, but I think
he was even telling Dan that day like that guy was just such a great
and that's
worker,
that's what I'm saying. Like they think. I think people were thinking Conan and the guys who died that were part of the Gringos Locos, which I understand. But then you have Rey Mysterio. You had Nicho was there. Yeah. Nicho would know who. I mean, even just from secondhand, just from being around him.
They're peers. Why not have somebody say
Vampiro really knew. I mean, Vampiro did know Art Bar because he was one of the guys who talked about it. Mm-hmm. So I thought maybe they could, or even like just a wrestler could have said his influence was Love Machine Art Bar, but no, they didn't have anything. So they showed a video of Art Bar, like clips of what he was like. I don't think fans knew who he was because there a lot of the fans.
That was what, like 24 years ago.
Yeah, so it's like
years ago.
So like because wrestling always changed. There's a bunch of years where fans just come and go and stuff like that. So then Joaquin Roldan is about to finish that segment, and Jesus Zuniga says, "Well, hold on, Joaquin, we have something more to do." So they start playing a video, and they announce Joaquin Roldan was entering the AAA Hall of Fame. And so Marcela Pena and Dorian Roldan come out, and they're both there, and the fans just fucking start whistling. And
no way.
When Lucha fans start whistling, it's
bad.
Yeah, because it's them calling you on the bullshit. And so everybody. So then, what I wrote is like I think I can't remember what I wrote. I wrote like this little on the next Lucha Boom. Conan reacts to Joaquin Roldan in the entering the Triple Hall of Fame, and sure enough, he just talked like he's like, "No, mames, way."
Oh my god!
I was just laughing.
Oh, that's hysterical.
But it's their Hall of Fame. They could do whatever they want. It's like WWE.
But kudos to the fans for calling bullshit.
Yeah. So it's like I thought, man, that's just stupid. But
hey, well, when we start Holt Street Wrestling, that's the first thing we're going to do.
Put ourselves in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame before the first match ever even starts.
Yes. And now, and we'll have like wrestlers come out, read notes, stuff we've written for them to say about us.
You have affluenza. You have affluenza. Oh, influenced my career.
I was just laughing at that segment. So they had the Lucha Underground Special Trios match, which was Dragon Azteca Jr., Prince Puma, Rey Mysterio Jr. beating Marty the Moth, Matanza Cueto, and Mil Muertes. So before this match, they bring out Vampiro. Vampiro goes in to introduce the wrestlers. Mm-hmm. The heels are already in the ring. These are guys that the fans do not know who they are. Like, I think, other than Rey Mysterio, I don't think the fans in Mexico, because these guys are Lucha Underground doesn't air in Mexico. Mm-hmm. I think there are some fans who kind of get it through,
streaming,
illegal means, streaming or online some form. But the fans who are there, they don't really know. So they have all these three guys. So as Vampiro's talking, you see Dragon Azteca Jr. and Prince Puma walking to the ring. They get no introduction. Rey Mysterio is the only one that gets introduced. So it's like it looked really bad. So at that point, I was watching the Spanish broadcast. Mm-hmm. So as this match is going on, I could tell you guys the Spanish side of things. On the Spanish broadcast, Matanza they referred to as Jeff Cobb. They brought up his.
They said he was
Jeff Cobb. They start talking about all this stuff. They talk about Dragon Azteca Jr. as Rey Horus. Then they mentioned Prince Puma. I think they might have mentioned Prince Puma as Ricochet.
Oh, funny.
They don't mention Mil Muertes as who
right.
Mil Muertes is. So then, match is pretty good. I think that match is one of those matches you have to watch the second time because the announcing was so bad. This was the Spanish announcing. Now, the people watching the show in English, they got Matt Striker and Vampiro. One of the worst announcing jobs I have ever heard. First of all, Vampiro decides to talk about he talks about Prince Puma having had a match with Will. Remember the Ospreay? Will Ospreay?
Yeah.
He calls him Will Asprey. They bring in this little kid. Vampiro starts talking to this little kid in ringside. Then I don't know what he wants to talk. Oh, he asked the kid who is his favorite wrestler. The little kid doesn't know what to say, so he's like, he calls him a pussy. And I'm like, dude, seriously, are you fucking kidding?
What?
Matt Striker starts talking about politics. I guess he's a Trump guy or something.
Holy shit! And
then he starts talking shit about like people on Twitter. And it's like, dude, are you serious? This is like the most tacky thing. I mean,
I was gonna say, is he doing commentary for a wrestling show, or is he doing his own podcast?
It was horrible.
Wow,
it was horrible. I mean, I don't know what those two dudes were doing, and it was really bad. That's the only segment I heard of them doing the entire time, and I just thought it was. I think not only was it horrible, it looked bad for Lucha Underground, and I hope Lucha Underground never brings that up again.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's even worse? It shows you how unprofessional they are, where they did that with AAA, mm-hmm. where you see how controlled. I mean, in Lucha Underground, it must tell you how much control those guys have, where they tell them not to act like clowns because they don't sound anything as bad. It just shows you how unprofessional those two guys are. I mean, I would never hire them.
Wow.
I mean, that's how bad they were, and it was horrible.
That's amazing.
And I don't like Vampiro personally. I don't. I've heard stories.
Yeah,
I've known people, and you've known him. You've known him. I mean, I
haven't really known him. I know people who know him. I met him a few times.
Yeah. He's just somebody I just wouldn't want to be around.
Yeah, he would not be my choice of people to hang with.
And then you add the whole announcing thing. I would not want him. And AAA, for those who don't know, Vampiro is one of Maricela Peña's favorites. There's two people that the Roldans and the Roldan family is very fond of. One is La Parka and the other one's Vampiro.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's no secret. Vampiro's always going to have a place. As long as he doesn't fuck up, he's always going to have a place with AAA. So.
And, you know, I got his appeal when he was actually new to the business.
Yeah.
That season. I mean, his.
I just think it's so unprofessional.
Oh yeah, I think it's unprofessional,
and, you know,
I don't get. I mean, since I don't watch AAA and I haven't watched Lucha Underground. Well, Lucha Underground, that's a controlled atmosphere, but with AAA, is he over with the fans? Is he?
Well, he's Vampiro. They've known him, so
yeah.
It's.
But you know, some people's presence grows
but
and some become legends.
It doesn't matter. He's over with Maricela Pena and the Roldan family.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the important thing. It's like it doesn't matter.
He has a job. He has a job. I'm just curious what his appeal is. Like how the lay people react to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Because I remember, I mean, it was unreal. I mean, you know, Physico and Greg Regalado they were actually.
I don't know.
in Mexico.
I don't really know if those guys who, during that match watched the show, watched that segment of the Triple M, but I'm pretty sure they would have been embarrassed to like be in that match with that announcing because it didn't put them over. It just made them look like it was horrible. Following match was the three-way match. Tejano Jr. retained over Dr. Wagner Jr. and Brian Cage. I thought it was okay, but I think I would have preferred it as a singles match, Tejano Jr. versus Cage, or I don't know. I thought that kind of lost some of it when they added Dr. Wagner Jr. to the match. I wasn't as excited. It wasn't as good as I thought it would have been. I'm trying to think what else they. After the match, they had Team Trump attack Tejano Jr. And Macias came out as part of Team Trump. So the Spanish announce team was like, "How did Mil Muertes? How did Macias get here?" They totally they protected. It just tells you these guys know more or less what's going on, but they don't give a fuck. Because
wow,
and you know, if you ask Conan, that was one of the things he always had a problem with the Spanish announcers because they don't give a fuck. They do whatever they want, and that's what they were doing with Mil Muertes when Macias came out. They're like, when did he get here? And it's like, dude, you guys just buried Jeff Cobb and all these other guys revealing who they are.
I don't know why I find myself, if there's any mockumentary fans out there, this makes me wish that Fred Willard spoke Spanish. Because if you ever see Destin's show...
He would have been better as an announcer on this thing.
Yeah, he would have actually made it...
Yeah, it would have been...
funny, you know?
Yeah, so they had a couple of the... I'm just trying to remember this match because there wasn't really that much to the match. And I think the main event overshadowed it because there was a lot more going on. The main event was the Mask vs. Hair match. Psycho Clown beat Pagano. It was a long match, lots of weapons. It was funny because there were...
Lots of Pagano.
Oh, there was a lot of points where Pagano was setting up the weapons, the tables, the chairs, the thumbtacks, basically just for him to end up falling into it. But it's like, it was a lot better than you would have like expected. But I think it
was because of Psycho Clown more. Or?
No, you know what it was. The crowd was really into it, so I think the crowd kind of made the match. It raised the match a little bit. But I don't think it was as good as the Pagano Trauma 1 match that I watched the previous year. Because I don't think Psycho Clown is Trauma 1. He's not at the level of Trauma 1. But it was actually, I mean, they had Psycho Clown's son was at the show. So they kept zooming in on the son, who is half Casas. Yeah. As you know that, right? He's half Casas. Casas and Alvarado.
That,
yeah,
I didn't,
yeah. He's half Casas, half Alvarado. So
when he gets into wrestling,
he's gonna be like the storyline. He better be a super worker. They had it was funny because they had the other members of the Fronteriza, Damien 666 and Nicho, who had made a miraculous recovery from his finger injury.
Bleeding finger?
From his bleeding finger from our interview.
It just dawned on me. I think we missed something.
I didn't even bring that up while I was watching. I was like, "Oh my god, he's recovered from his finger injury."
Instead of us saying, "Hey, your finger's bleeding," what do you think he would have done if we just looked like an astonishment and said, "Stigmata, stigmata"? You You are a messenger from God.
Yeah, so they ran out to help Pagano. So then Dr. Wagner Jr. ran out. Oh, it's funny because during that other match, Dr. Wagner Jr. disappeared not to help Tejano Jr. So it's like, okay, I just thought it was weird. So then Dr. Wagner Jr. came out to help Psycho Clown against Pagano's guys, Nicho and Damien. So Wagner ends up turning on Psycho Clown. But Psycho Clown still was able to get the win over Pagano. So after the match, actually, he beat Pagano throwing him through a flaming table. The other thing behind the whole flaming table thing, a bunch of independent promoters from and wrestlers from Mexico who like doing death matches were very upset that the commission allowed that to happen when they don't allow it to happen at the smaller venues and smaller, grimier venues. Whereas this is a big venue where I don't think they would be too pleased about wrestlers being thrown into like the crowd and stuff, because they were being thrown into the crowd and doing like this, like, you know, hardcore stuff. And so the match ended with Pagano going through a flaming table. Dr. Wagner Jr. then challenges Psycho Clown to a mask versus mask match for the next Triplemania. So now that's everybody's trying to figure out if that match is really going to happen. Half the people think that it's going to happen. Conan is one of the people who thinks it's going to happen because he thinks Dorian's been hounding Dr. Wagner Jr. for so long to drop his mask for the last 5 years that he thinks he finally... Maybe he's finally...
But isn't he famous for just backing
Yes,
out?
for the mask and... for backing out and stuff. It's been going on with LA Park for like the longest time. And with Connect before that too. So it's like...
Yeah.
And Rayo de Jalisco too. So it's like... So I think it's been going on since... I'm thinking 2004. Really? Right? Like 2004?
Oh, easily.
Because that's the first time they had the four-way match.
And isn't Fishman another one who's famous for years promising he was going to drop it?
And he dropped it though. He dropped it like late in his career though.
He finally did drop it.
Yes. I've seen him bald, so I'm pretty sure he's dropped it. Here, I'll look it up.
No, I just don't. It's weird. I just don't remember. I remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I remember multiple stories of Fishman saying he's going to drop his mask.
You know, people are listening to this and they're like, "Fredo, you have it on video."
You probably do.
Like you have it on video.
And the way my memory has been, I can tell you, I can...
Lack of sleep, too, so...
Lack of sleep, and I can tell you all the angles I saw in the 70s. I can tell you what month and year they took place in. But, whatever happened last week, I don't know. I've also heard many stories about Fishman.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. Yeah, because it's happened for a while, so...
Well, he's also one of those wrestlers who's famous for backing out of shows just for the hell of it, too. And
there he is. I'll tell you. Looking. Scrolling down.
Is this Lucha Wiki?
No, I actually went on Wiki, on the Wiki page.
Oh, okay. Both are really cool sites.
Yeah. Yeah, I dropped it too.
So, get into the fever.
Máscara Sagrada. I think I even watched that. Yeah, it's on the Guerra de...
Oh, okay.
It's on one of those cheap pay-per-views.
Okay.
Here, I'll tell you.
Maybe I heard...
Oh, GWAS. Oh, God.
What?
GWAS. Global Wrestling All-Stars.
When?
That was in 2000.
Wow.
Yeah, you're
I
really...
have no memory. I have absolutely no memory of it. Maybe I just assumed, like, oh, yeah, he says he's going to drop it again, and...
Yeah, he dropped it to Máscara Sagrada. I remember, because LA Park was in that match, too. La Parca, Shuel Guerrero. Yeah, I have that.
Okay, well...
I'll show it to you. Yeah, August 28, 2000.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. So there, Fishman isn't...
Like I said.
Isn't, like, what? But yeah, he lasted a long time doing that. But, yeah, Dr. Wagner Jr. is probably more prevalent just because he's been doing it since 2004, and it's so... Ever since he started doing it, it's been so common among wrestlers, luchadors in Mexico to constantly have mass challenges all the time, so...
And you know, if you eventually don't deliver, your mystique's gonna just...
Yeah, so that's... And it's even become a running joke with LA Park and Rush in their feud, where Rush will bring up, "I'm not Dr. Wagner Jr. I'm not gonna run away from you." Yeah, so yeah, overall I thought Triplemania was a lot better than last year, but the announcing was really bad.
Yeah. Now
some of the little things that they did were really just for a promotion that wants to be big time, just like not introducing all the Lucha Underground guys, I thought was really bad. Just because I just think And they even brought up it's our American partner, and it just seemed like, oh, here they are, because I mean, Lucha Underground, they even Vampiro and everybody's like, that's the hot promotion and all this stuff, and it's like they didn't really introduce them.
It's weird.
It's like, yeah, here's Mil Muertes, here's Matanza.
Now, comparing it to the disaster that was last year's Triplemania, like just on a show on its own, where do you think it stands? Was it passable? Was it okay? Did it suck? Was it good?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say okay. It wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you missed it, it wasn't. I think the only matches, definitely go out of your way to watch the trios match. If you just put it in mute, it was actually pretty good. And the 4-way tag match was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two matches. So it was okay, good. I would say good.
Cool.
Yeah. So
the 83rd anniversary CMLL.
don't you want to do the interview first?
Let's do the interview first. That was we went to the
UIPW show on Saturday.
Yes.
And we were disappointed because Teddy Hart wasn't there. He showed up late.
He was injured. Could not wrestle.
Sadly, what's the cat's name? I forgot. Mr. Money. Mr. Money was not there. Mr. Money was not there.
Yeah, there was no cat there.
So we were pretty bummed. We kind of. I think when we didn't see Teddy Hart there, we kind of gave up on doing interviews. We were going to give up on doing interviews.
But we wound up getting several really good.
Yeah, and we also talked to Jeff Cobb, who was really cool.
A very nice guy.
Yeah, really nice.
And not just a nice guy, a very interesting guy.
Yeah, very talented too.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up getting interviews with Psicosis,
mm-hmm.
Ripper, and CMLL. That'll be up on the site, I think, probably later this week, maybe the weekend. We talked to Ronnie Mendoza.
Yes.
That should be up. I'm hoping to have that up before Friday, because he broke the Lucha Elite news to me during the interview, because I can't check online. So he told me that it just happened, and I was like, because I think when we stopped doing the interview, I was telling him I'll post the interview after that happened, so he doesn't look bad,
mm-hmm.
so he doesn't get in trouble. And
cool.
then he told me no, it's already been reported, so it's fine. He's like, oh, okay, so I'll just add it. I'll just do whatever I want. He's like, that's fine. And then you interviewed Mariah Moreno.
Mariah Moreno was really good seeing her back again.
Yeah,
back
and
in
then
Southern California.
We got an interview with Thunder Rosa, and we should thank her husband, because he overheard me saying that. We were talking to Roger, Vandal Lucha, and he was telling us where he was wondering where we went.
Roger, the Wombat.
Yes, so. He was wondering, and I was telling him, and I said, yeah, we're going to try to get an interview, see if we could get an interview with, I said, with her. And I thought they didn't hear me, and I heard him say, her husband say, I think they want to do an interview with you. And she's like, who wants an interview with me? And I was like...
And have we ever encountered a wrestler who is that accommodating where they overhear...
Yeah, that was very... Well, you know the thing, we've been very fortunate. Almost everybody we've asked to do interviews, they've been very willing to do it.
Yeah, we've had really... good experiences with
and
people.
She was great. I mean, I wish we could have done a little longer interview.
In fact, that's something
I think it went long. I think it went 11 minutes long, so it definitely... But I think we could have gone at least another 30 minutes, because her
story is a very interesting, very unique story, which you'll hear in a minute. But, before you hear the interview, we hope to interview her again in the future sometime, because we weren't prepared for what an interesting
I actually wrote down stuff I wanted to ask her, and I did ask her the stuff about Stardom.
Yeah, I want to learn more, though.
Asked her about going to Mexico, how she got into wrestling, which actually she has an interesting story behind. It's how she got into it and stuff like that. So
without further ado, here is Thunder Rosa.
English or Spanish?
Let's do English.
English? That way I don't have to write it?
Yeah.
Up?
Yep, exactly.
Awesome.
You already have
you guys are so nice. Yes, you guys are so nice. This is LuchaWorld with Thunder Rosa, also known as Kobra Moon from Lucha Underground. How are you doing?
I am really tired.
You just had a match earlier today.
Yeah, but we've been up since 8 in the morning.
Oh, really? What were you?
We went to the gym, and then I was just running errands.
Oh, I thought you were wrestling earlier. I was like...
No, I wish I was.
You've been wrestling for how long have you been wrestling?
I started in November. I think it was October. It was October or November? October 2014.
Really?
That was my debut. Yeah, like the end of October.
Because you got into Stardom rather early, didn't you? Like,
Yeah, like.
how did that come about?
Cheerleader Melissa invited me to go. They were starting the.
You
whole,
started out where in California?
in San Francisco, California.
San Francisco.
That's my training, my original training.
And then you got to Stardom through. How was that? How was that experience with?
It was
Stardom?
really intense because I was thrown into the fire like very early in my career, and I don't think you never think you're ready, even when you are. But I think it really opened my mind and opened my everything about wrestling, like about Japanese wrestling, about American and lucha libre.
And then you got to work in Mexico around that time, like right after, wasn't it?
No, it was actually
Before that?
the year after.
The
In
year after.
October, I bought myself a ticket to Mexico. I was like, I'm gonna go to Mexico and get
Really?
booked over there and train there. And I'm like, let's do this. And then because of being in Japan, I met a promoter through Starfire, and like I got 5 bookings up when I was there.
Wow.
And I got to train there too. And at the same time, I started flying back to LA to do Lucha Underground.
That was the same time.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
really?
was the same
Wow.
time. So it was really blessed.
Was that Lucha Underground? Was that when you that Stardom show when you were?
They actually
approached
scouted
by
me
that
there. Yeah.
time? Yeah, we were at that show. That's why.
Oh, you guys were?
I saw Eric Van Wagenen talking to you, and I looked at him and I go, I think she's gonna get signed.
How do you guys knew? I was like,
Yeah, I
that's
knew.
so funny.
Yeah, sorry. I kept it quiet. I was like, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
So that was when they.
They approached me and they asked me if I knew about Lucha Underground. I was like, oh yeah, I used to watch Lucha Underground when I was in Japan. We like fell in love with the show. We were falling over there. It's like, yeah, well, like we're interested in like carrying some women.
Was there interest in your look as
No, I
Thunder
think they
Rosa?
were interested in my.
They already had the character.
They had the character, and they were interested in what I brought to the ring when they
Okay.
saw me there. And it was more DJ. Chris Joseph, he's the very first one who approached me, and he started talking to me, and I didn't really know who he was.
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, what's up? Like. And then later on, my husband was like, do you know who you were talking to? And I was like, no. And I was like, this dude, he has some, he's a big dude. And I'm like, you should know. And it just happened, they gave me the opportunity to give me Kobra Moon, and they allowed me to like interpret it as, with what they thought and also with my flavor. And I think in season 3, it comes to show, how she is and like the things that she can do, because you guys didn't see that in the introduction
because
of the show.
right now, as of season 2, your Kobra Moon is kind of trying to get Daga to fall for her, and he's playing hard to get.
Yes.
Which.
No, season
Yes.
3 is like a completely different character.
Okay.
You guys will
And it's
have to
actually
see.
starting in about 3 days, I think.
Yeah, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you guys saw like the previews and the stuff, like she is in a lot of it, and then she's a really big part of the story.
How excited are you about that? Like the whole being part of Lucha Underground, considering you just started in 2014.
Honestly, it's like a different platform for me because like you guys got to see here, I wrestle here, over there, and like it's different. I get to act and I get to be part of like a big movie, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's like soap opera, Mexican soap opera.
That's a whole new. They're trying something new, which hasn't been done in a long time. Like
Yes.
Something unique.
Does that give you an opportunity to like maybe learn more about like in the ring? Like it gives you a little more time to like just develop your.
It might develop her as a character, develop myself. My timing. So I'm really new.
Because I know that's what I was telling him, because when you were wrestling in Stardom, Eric Van Wagenen asked me like, who would you recommend from Stardom? And I was like, I think I mentioned everybody else, and I couldn't remember like some of the other people because they're so new. And I was like, this is the first time I've seen Thunder Rosa. Your look is great. That's the one thing I would have said. Like your look looks like the I dig the Dia de los Muertos look, and I thought just on that they should have signed you, and I thought that was great. But they didn't give you that character, so.
No.
But I mean, that just for somebody who's so new to get that opportunity. I mean, that's
I'm
amazing.
working with veterans, people who have been in the business for 25, 30 years. And when you're
I was going to ask you. You said you were based out of San Francisco.
Yes.
Is that where you were first trained?
I first trained in Pacifica, California, in the hybrid of APW.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so like our basics are very strong, and our coaches were very hard
Who
on
did you
us.
train with?
I trained with Dylan Drake and Matt Carlos. They used to be part of the old APW, so they are my original trainers. And then from there on, it was just like if I was in Mexico, whoever was in Mexico, you know.
Who did you train with in Mexico?
Let's see, Dr. Cerebro.
Wow.
I trained with him.
Oh, wow.
I had a couple classes. I had one class with XXIV. I'm currently training Lucha Libre at Pro Wrestling Revolution in San Jose with Vaquero Fantasma, who trained in Mexico and CMLL. He's been CMLL, AAA. So I'm really like embracing Lucha Libre as part of my...
Were you a big fan of wrestling when you were growing up? Or no?
What got you turned on?
What got you into it?
My husband.
Oh, really?
That's funny.
No, I didn't want to be a wrestler at all. Like, that was not my goal in life.
Wow.
How funny. What got you to take
why-
the leap? And what...
I was a rebellious thing for my parents. My parents never allowed me to do sports.
Yeah.
I wanted to do soccer, and they were like, "No, it's too much. You're gonna break a leg." And then I was like, "Guess what? I'm gonna be a wrestler now. Screw you, you know."
Trying to save you from the world, huh?
Yeah, and now like my dad at first was like, "You're crazy." My mom was like, "You're gonna die." Now my mom has accepted it, and my dad is like super proud. He goes to my shows, especially in LA. He sits there like a little kid, you know. I had a no DQ match with Holly Dad in San Diego.
Yeah.
He was there. He was having a blast when I was like hitting her in the head with the broomstick and like getting kicked in the face. He was like, "That was such a cool match. That was so much fun." I was like, "Oh my god, you're crazy!" Like,
wow. I mean, that's even more impressive that you weren't even a fan.
no, I wasn't.
So you just caught on to it. What was it that just?
It was. I just fell in love with what you can do inside and outside.
Wow.
You know, it's like the connection that you can create with people.
Was there anything specifically you were watching when you got into it?
We were watching a lot of indies in Oakland. We started attending Hood Slam, and it was a very different. It's a very different, show. Because it's alternative.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got very into it. We used to go all the time, and then we went to APW, and I was like, "Fuck."
Do you think it
like
kind of? I think it kind of helps you that you're not as. You didn't grow up watching like the divas and all that stuff.
No.
So I think that kind of makes you your own self, like an individual.
Absolutely. I think in many ways, I try not to follow patterns and I not to follow certain rules because I feel that as a person and working in I used to be a counselor,
Wow.
and I had my career and everything before I became a full-time wrestler. That you can still do a lot of things, but you don't have to like follow the cookie cutter pattern. And that's been the story of my life, you know. And I don't see any difference with wrestling.
Yeah.
And living. This is maybe I'm going on a tangent, but living.
It's okay. We do that all the time.
Living in the United States, also, it's like you can create your own map to get to your destination.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to take the street and turn right. Now you can go straight and then turn right, and that's what is happening with my career in wrestling. It's like I don't have to wait 15 years. I did not have to wait 15 years to get an opportunity that came to me, and that can only happen in the United States.
Yeah.
If I would have been in Mexico, I would have been knocking on doors.
Were you born in Mexico?
I was born and raised in Mexico. I came here when I was 17 years old.
Oh, really?
Yes, I came here.
And considering how short a time you've been wrestling, even here, I mean, rarely do so many things happen for somebody getting into business this quickly.
Yeah, but it's
impressive.
I believe in destiny, and I believe that God puts you in this earth for a reason.
Yeah.
And the reason for me, the reason was to touch people's lives, and if it's in the ring or outside the ring, that's what it was for me. And I already did it outside the ring when I was doing counseling with people that had mental health problems and at-risk youth, and now I'm doing it in the ring with girls that are like seeing me as a role model.
Yeah.
Women my age that see me as a role model to follow their dreams, because I'm older than a lot of the girls that get in the ring. Like they start when they're 14, 16. I started when I was 27. I was like a late bloomer, And I'm like,
you're still young.
I'm learning how to jump. I'm learning how to roll. I'm learning how to do all these things. While all these girls been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So I have a lot to catch up, And I want to be. I always say that my goal is to be the best, and whatever time I have in this business.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for the interview. Anything else for the listeners?
Well, you guys should be looking at what...
Where can they follow you on social media?
They can follow me on social media, and my website is unstoppabletr.com. My website, again, is unstoppabletr.com. Twitter is Thunder Rosa 22. Instagram is Thunder Rosa 22. Facebook is at Thunder Rosa 2.
Oh.
Yes. And you can find all my merchandise there, or just hit me up, send me a message. I answer within like 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like about wrestling is like you get to like interact with so many people from so many different parts of the world. And when I see them in person, it's like such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
More than getting in the ring sometimes. Like, it's just, I see them, I see their faces, and I see how happy they are just to be around me. Like, that really makes me feel special. That's what I want to tell to the world. Like, because of you guys, I'm in the place that I am right now. Because you guys love what Thunder Rosa can do in your life, or like if I make you smile when you're seeing my live feed, or when I say hi, or when I say, hey, have a nice day, and I send you a message. It's like, that's what makes me very happy.
They need you to move the car. The interview's over because you need to move the car.
So, a huge thank you to Thunder Rosa. Really fascinating, interesting woman. And upcoming, October 7th in West Covina, California.
Covina. It's Covina and there's West Covina.
Oh, I didn't know there was just...
You didn't know that?
Seriously.
Wow, really?
Everybody I know always says West Covina. I've never heard anybody
There's
say...
West Covina and Covina, California.
Okay.
Wow.
I want to check out the zip
West
code.
Covina is close to La Puente, and then there's Covina before that.
Okay.
There's Covina, then West Covina, and then
Where's East Covina?
East Covina. Yeah, that's a good one.
Southwest Covina?
That's an interesting one.
Why is there a West?
I know that's what I thought when I first got here. I was like, why is there a West Covina? And like when you get your street address, it's East and West. It's like
that's October.
you're like now you're stumped. Yeah.
October 7th though, Covina.
Yeah.
Sabotage Wrestling, a women's show. Also on the show will be Hudson Envy, who is back in action after being laid up with injuries.
Kari Hojo is going to be there. Who else? Taya Valkyrie.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then on the 24th, she's on the AWS has a show. Ladies' Night number 2. Thunder Rosa's facing Lufisto from Canada. You're like, who's Lufisto?
Yes.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time. She's been in the U.S., Canada, and she's been in Lucha. Yeah, she worked in AAA.
Yeah, I've probably seen her not do.
Yeah, and they also have Hudson Envy versus Nicole Savoy. So there's that. That's a pretty good looking card too.
Yeah, I hope.
Oh, and she's also wrestling Lady Apache in for Pro Wrestling Revolution.
That I would love.
I think it's this weekend too.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Lady Apache's been around all over the place. So.
She rocks. Yeah. She rules.
Next time we see her, we could ask her to give us an update on Lady Apache's who's she married to now in wrestling. I don't know. I don't think she would want to ask. I think I'm the only person who would dare ask somebody that.
Yeah, it'd be the.
I'm dumb.
If you asked it would work.
I'm dumb enough to ask that sort of stuff. like oblivious, because I don't really care.
I'd be dumb enough to ask it, and then she'd slap me.
Yeah.
But then I'd be.
Yeah, because Lady Apache's been married to Gran Apache, Brasso de Oro, I think, Electroshock. I have no idea. There's got to be because she's the mother of these other people and all these other. I can't even remember. Stepmother of all these. Yeah. What else is going on? Anniversary show. CML 83rd anniversary show.
Now, unlike the AAA show, I think it was the easiest time I ever ordered a pay-per-view.
Really? Well,
I went on YouTube and press this button.
Yes. All I did was I had to look for help because I want to make sure what the options were to purchase it. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that they accepted PayPal, I was fine, perfect. Also, the Triplemania show cost $23. CMLL's show was $2.99. I mean, what are they thinking? I mean, I don't know. It's like I wanna tell them that they don't have to go from one step. It's like they go from step A to step Z, where it's like you don't have to undercut yourself on price. I mean, I think they could have made it $9.99 and people would have ordered it anyways.
I would have ordered it.
Yes, $2.99. I mean, are they making money?
This was like ordering Little Caesar's pizza, but getting a real designer pizza from Biology or one of those places.
I would have paid $2.99 just for the Dragon Lee La Mascara match.
Yes,
I probably would have paid an extra $2.99 for the trios match.
The trios match was amazing.
And then I would have demanded my money for the rest of it. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I have to say, as as far as the main event, if I'm just comparing it to the last 2 anniversary shows,
well, before we get to that, we should talk about how it was supposed to be on at 8 a.m. Mexico time.
Yes.
On the Saturday. It wasn't going to air live. They were going to put it on video on demand, which I actually think works better, video on demand, because what I loved about it being on YouTube is that if you have slow internet, you could lower the video quality, and it works perfectly fine for you.
And I gotta tell you, mine went off without a glitch.
Yeah.
I finally, I'm finally
and
in
even
the
people,
modern era where I watch it on a big screen TV.
And even people with fast internet, when it's streaming live, would always have issues.
Yes.
So it was like, it wasn't just, it's your internet. It's everybody would have issues because it was when it was streaming live. So I actually preferred it as a VOD. I liked having it. Well, I personally think that they should have both options, live and VOD. So then, like, if somebody doesn't have time to watch it, they could watch it later. Which I don't know why they didn't do that. And also, it would have saved them the trouble of what happened the following day on Saturday.
Yes.
They were supposed to put it at 8 a.m. Mexico time, which I think is, from what I understood, some of the guys woke up like at 5 or 6 in the morning. I think that's the time I think it's 6 a.m. Central Time.
And you're grumpy enough at that hour.
Yeah. So they complained about it. I didn't complain about it. Here's what happened. When I looked for it, I see Mark Cole was the one that told us that it wasn't working. So then I look at his Twitter his tweet, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. I woke up this early because I wanted to watch the show. The next tweet I see is Lucha Blog. And he tweets out that it's only $2.99, so I couldn't go back to sleep because at $2.99, I love deals. I'm not gonna go back to sleep. I'm excited about $2.99.
Yeah. $2.99. Are you out of your mind?
Yes. So then I'm like that's amazing. So I stayed up to see maybe they'll fix it while I'm awake. So it wasn't going on. So I assumed it must have been, it being YouTube, there must have been a music issue. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it was the 2 dance routines that were removed.
Oh.
And somehow I think they might have sent them someone sent them to the Cubs fan. So he posted them.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So now I can have a complete review of the anniversary show because I actually watched the 2 dance routines. I'm assuming you did not watch that.
I did not watch the dance routines. I did not see any evidence.
So I actually watched the entire anniversary show, and you didn't.
Damn.
And I will say that I didn't really.
You always have the one up on me. Damn it.
I want to say that the first dance, there was a guy who had one of those. He had the sombra-like beard.
Yes.
And he was dancing, and I thought, my God, I almost imagined WWE is going to do that to poor Sombra. Do a gimmick of him dancing like a Fandango type of gimmick.
I would not be shocked.
That was my first reaction to the first dance routine. The second one, they had these 2 guys who were dressed like they were covered like in silver like outfits with just their face sticking out, and I thought they looked like the Ding Dongs. so I was like, these guys look like the Ding Dongs. I couldn't. And the women had afros. I think you saw that when
I saw the afros.
Yeah, yes. But you didn't understand the context. You're like, why are they?
No.
Afro?
I saw brief dancing, but not.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, because they edited it all out. Yeah. Yeah. So the show itself, I think it came up on Sunday, right?
Yes, it did. I watched it Sunday afternoon. I started watching it already.
Didn't you watch it Monday? You watched it Monday.
I started Monday, Labor Day.
I think it was Sunday, but I watched it Sunday. I think was when I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We.
Yeah, because you told me on Monday.
Yeah. Labor Day. I had the day off. That's why I got confused with Sunday. But,
yeah.
I gotta say, I loved the main event. And while just comparing the last 2 anniversary shows, I like the Atlantis. Sombra match, I think, was my favorite of these past few years.
Yeah.
But as far as the card from start to finish, I think I enjoyed this one more.
I can't remember which one. I would have to look back and see which ones I like. I don't think I like this card more than the.
I gotta be honest. There hasn't been an.
I can't like if you ask me like to name like the last 4, I would probably be like. But I kind of think, I think this one I didn't think was as good as some of the other ones, just because some of the earlier portions of the card didn't really have any of the younger guys on the show. They went more with veterans, and then the women also.
Mm-hmm.
The women's match is always like, I think the women's match, at some point they got to add someone new to this crew.
They do, but I did like this match. It feels like they really.
So I guess we should start with the women's match.
Yes.
Amapola Dallas and Zeuxis beat Yuvia, Marcella, and Suhei. Princesa Suhei.
Yes. Now, women's matches, I'm a fan of women's wrestling, even if it's not All Japan Women or Stardom. However, I'm with you in that they put too many of the women with each other, and
because it's so often that if you're watching, like I would say, if you watch CML like for the last 5 years, and you're watching, maybe you don't watch every show, but maybe you're watching like one or two, or even weekly, and you're getting the women's match. You've probably watched every combination of the women's match possible, and I think this kind of just, to me, it felt like one of the better women's matches, I would say.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
I liked it because
it wasn't the when you're like, oh my god, why is this match not ending? This was okay. This wasn't. I thought it was okay. It wasn't.
Yeah, see, I find a lot of the women's matches to be a 6-woman tag team mess, and often because there's nobody really.
I personally think they gotta dump the 3 falls for the women. Because they just, I think, because they got to keep coming up with finishes, and it's like I just don't see it.
But in addition to that, there's so many times where there's only one veteran like Amapola who can carry.
And at least on this show they had more. At least
yes,
this show they had more.
Exactly, and that's why I think one of the reasons I think this match was enjoyable. But again, it's not match of the night or anything, but I think they worked their butts off.
I dug Zeux's look and Dallas's look.
I did too. Dallas, she
had that big hair, she had big hair.
I dig her presence. It's funny.
She looks so much better now. And we were talking for people who listened to the Thunder Rosa interview. Mm-hmm. She was talking how she started late in the business. Dallas is another person that started late in her life as a wrestler, because I think she started in her mid to late 30s. I think she started training.
That's great.
So she's improved.
She's improved
so
a lot.
I think that's kind of like what you hope happens with any woman that, or in any wrestler really, that they just improve.
Definitely, especially when you're learning later in life. Yeah. It's it's harder to learn. The one thing I noticed with her when I watched this match was she seems a little apprehensive when she's doing high spots. When she does attack, it looks like she's scared she's going to hurt the other person or something. Yeah. But she works hard, and her just in-ring presence is her Ruda presence is really cool.
I was surprised
she seems more comfortable in.
Yeah, as a heel, she's a lot better as a Ruda than as a Technica. But I think they had her as a Technica because she couldn't lead anybody in a match when you first start. I think the Rudos usually lead the match, but I mean, I kind of thought you sent me a message while you were watching that. Yuvia got hurt. She got stretchered out during the match,
and it was off camera.
Yeah, off camera. And you asked me what was the update, and I don't think anybody's really mentioned what happened.
Nothing serious.
And then my comment to you. What was my comment to you? So Kurt's worried. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" I wrote, maybe it's karma for not honoring her bikini bet that she got hurt.
That's it.
Because that's how I am.
And I do want to say, Yuvia, if you're listening.
Please honor your...
Yeah, please honor the bet. Even it might be karma. I don't think it is, but just in case, please do the bikini bet, please. Yeah, please.
But I thought it was an okay opener. It wasn't anything that...
Yeah, nothing to write home about, but I thought... I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Second match, Marco Corleone, Maximo Sexy, Stuka Jr. beat Hefesto, Mephisto, and Shocker. The first thing I liked about that match was Mephisto's mask. Was really cool. It looked like was like a bull looking like the
bull with the tusks.
Yeah, the tusks.
And the spot
like a warhog.
Yeah. And I love the spot where Maximo grabs his tusks.
Yes, and wants to kiss him. The crowd was really into very early. They were just yelling "beso, beso" for him to kiss Mephisto, and I just thought the crowd was really into that match. So I didn't think it was that. I didn't think that it was that great of a match. But the guys worked hard, and they actually had the crowd into it. And when once you get the crowd into it, you're pretty much. And I thought they were okay.
And how I am too. I don't need it to be a technical match. I think Marco Corleone rocks.
I like his punches when he's just punching guys.
Yes, and you know, I have a ton of respect for Jim Cornette.
But he's wrong.
But you're wrong. And I hope Cornette is pulling a huge work. I know he's not, but it almost disillusions me that how can you say this guy is bad? This guy is awesome.
Well, you know, he got a... Yeah, and to continue, like, just to say, like, if it was his opinion from being with him while he was in WWE, I could understand if that's his opinion back then, but Marco has gotten so much better in Lucha. Plus, I mean, you got...
And I must say, I did not see him back then.
And so I did. I saw him in WWE. I would say, I think we've even said it on podcasts, where I think what happened to Marco was that he got brought up too soon, and really didn't get to develop.
Right.
Because, I mean, I thought... When I first saw him was when he was doing WCW Saturday Night, doing the basketball character gimmick. And I actually thought he had some potential, but I thought they rushed him too soon. Because WCW Saturday Night was done.
Yes.
And they were losing talent. Remember when they lost Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and all those guys? And they needed to... And then the promotion was just falling apart.
Panic,
and they just brought up these guys. They put them in with these... and the veterans in veterans in WCW were all assholes too. Like they didn't really want to help elevate guys.
So no, they love to brag.
And they never did. You know.
Is that when they also brought out all those really horrid gimmicks like the Maestro? And
yes.
Whoa,
Maestro was cool though. Don't be mean to him.
No, the Maestro was cool. It's just
he was nice to me at one point.
It's fun. It's fun.
I actually communicated with him.
It's fun how they hyped the gimmick. And then the first match they had him in was some guy who looked like it.
But it was very cheesy,
like a backyard wrestler.
Yes.
With a hockey mask or something on. I can't remember what. But the guy beats the Maestro in the first match, and it's like what?
Russo had these really stupid ideas.
Yeah, he certainly did.
Yeah.
And that's something I do agree with Cornette on.
Yeah. So I dug the spear that Shocker did on Marco when he was going to do the where he just speared him through the middle rope.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the one where. Was that the one where Stuka was about to make?
Marco was going to run on the ramp, and Shocker caught him in spear.
Oh yes. Yeah. But I guess the spot I was thinking was when Corley.
I wish Shocker would lose weight though. I really do.
I know.
It's just sad. Like
he's very cool, but I mean, he's effective, but
because he could still
possibilities.
Yeah, if he was like 20, 30 pounds lighter, he would be so much. Right now, he'd probably be getting bookings in other places. Although I've heard some bad things about him as although he may have changed, but he was very unreliable back in the day.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, he was. He was. Well, he was like a Mr. Niable at the time. But the spot I liked is the fall where the faces went over, where Stuka makes like he's about to.
Oh, you mean?
Why am I saying Stuka? Oh,
it is Stuka.
Stuka makes like he's about to do the moonsault.
So and he stands on the middle on the rope.
Then Maximo just goes between his legs at Tope. And then Shocker does the body press on.
And then Stuka Jr. does the moonsault on Mephisto, I think.
Yeah, that was I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah. After that was the hair match.
Oh yes.
Ray Bucanero beat Super Crazy. Now that match, the first two falls, waste of time. 30 seconds each fall. I mean, that's what anybody who hates 2 out of 3 fall matches. That's what they're going to point at, that one match, because those type of matches.
And I agree with them. You know, that's my one beef with the Apuestas matches is.
And they do it often too.
They do it often,
especially in CMLL.
And I think it would make it a lot more interesting if
they did a longer fall. Like they mixed it up. Like maybe have a long first fall. Then maybe the third fall suddenly becomes like the short, or the second fall. Keep the second fall short because the heel would win quick.
Yes.
And then have the third fall like be a little longer.
In fact, and this wasn't.
Yes, we remember that.
You know what I'm going to talk about, right? The famous Atlantis versus Emilio Charlie.
People are all like, dude, Fredo, you don't be cold.
No, I bring this up because everybody made me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was the anniversary show with Rayo de Jalisco versus Cien Caras.
Yeah. Which,
of course, was the main event, but one of the co-main events was Emilio Charles putting his title up against
Atlantis.
And they had a really good, 2 fall. Each wrestler took a fall. Really good, solid work. And then the third fall, Charles just runs at Atlantis. Misses a tope attempt. Charges him, and he gets caught in Atlantis' backbreaker. Maybe 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And all the newsletter fans says, "Oh, that really sucked. The third fall was nothing." I'm saying that third fall got the most amazing pop.
Well, to me,
and it was exciting.
If you're gonna have 2-3 falls in a match, you should be like boxing, MMA, where not every fall, like the final fall shouldn't have to automatically be like 30 minutes long. That could be the short match fall. But they're running the same type of match where the first fall is short, the second fall is short, and the third fall is long.
Exactly.
Everybody's doing that when they should be doing it. Like, they should mix it up. Maybe have the first fall short, second fall maybe 10-15 minutes, then maybe the third fall, like, cut it down from 30 minutes to 15 or 20 minutes, you know?
In fact, I think it would be interesting since it is so predictable
I should start booking. I should start promoting shows and, like, doing stuff like that.
Totally. We're there.
Whole Street Wrestling.
But like on the next Voice or so, I think it'd be effective if they went through the motions like they were going to do a quick first fall and have one of the wrestlers.
But they're not going to do it.
They won't.
They won't do it. It's so weird. They won't do it. Like, you tell them this stuff, and they have a reason why they do it, and it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. They're in that bubble where they're like what they're doing.
It's funny how I think I mean, I'd have to really, pick up my mind, but I think wrestling has always had that. Well, it's like I said. Remember when I said I was 10 years old?
Yeah.
Even though I was a kid, and I suspended my disbelief, I could tell when the babyface jobber was making the comeback. I could tell when that comeback was in and how he was going to get beat most of the time.
But you still watched it.
You still watched it. But at the same time, you're thinking, I wonder why they do the same formula.
Yeah.
Maybe because it works. I don't know.
So the third fall basically was Super Crazy killing himself.
Yep.
He did a moonsault. I think he did a moonsault off the announcer's booth or whatever that thing is. Then he did a moonsault off the stage. That guy was doing a bunch of shit all over the place. And Rey Bucanero did 2 of the worst Canadian destroyers I have ever seen. This move is done so much in every single, I mean, every show. Like, you can watch every wrestling show, and there's going to be Canadian destroyer, most likely. But this guy did them so bad. I mean, he should never do them.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because, I mean, you look at what Rey Bucanero used to be, and now it's like, I kind of thought he was. The only thing that saved that match was that the crowd was like really loud for it. But it was like,
this crowd was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And they had a good crowd. They had a big crowd. I mean, everybody thought that they were going to draw for Dragon Lee versus La Máscara. Remember that? Everybody was saying, "Oh, they're not going to draw for that." And it's like, yeah. And people complained. The reason they were complaining is because they thought, "Oh, they're going to gift the win to Dragon Lee." Mm-hmm. La Máscara, they're going to gift it to Dragon. It's so funny because La Máscara gets that too, but everybody was rooting for La Máscara over Dragon Lee, which I have no idea how.
I did not want Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I have no idea how you could pick La Máscara over Dragon
Lee. My inner fan. My inner fan. I dig Dragon Lee, and I wanted to keep that mask. Yeah, he's cool. And then just as somebody who digs wrestling in general, and I think we talked about this on the last podcast. I thought the best thing that could ever happen to La Máscara is losing his Máscara.
Yeah, but we're still talking about the other stuff. We'll go
ahead on that.
The attendance. You didn't want to talk about
No, you're right. Yeah. No, the attendance. This is what makes me so happy is I thought... I will be honest. I did not think it was going to draw the way it drew. But I am so happy it did because Dragon Lee... We've been wanting him pushed for a long time.
Well, he's been pushed. He's been pushed from the beginning. He's been pushed.
Not like this though.
No, he's been pushed pretty well.
He's been pushed pretty well, but
no, he's been pushed really well. Like as a guy who's gotten pushed, he's the one guy who's got. I mean, he had a mass match with Kamatachi early on in his career.
He's had mass match, but to put it in
been pushed. He's been pushed really well. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many anniversary main events you were wanting him to have. It's only been wrestling for 2 years.
Well, no,
he's been pushed really well as a guy.
No, he's pushed. I'm not saying he hasn't been pushed well, but how do I put it?
Whatever you're gonna put it, I'm gonna say he's been done.
No,
and
you're probably
well.
right. You follow it.
I don't think there's anybody like if you were gonna talk about those 4 guys who were in Busca de un Ídolo. He's from the very moment that thing started. The moment he had that really great match with I think the Panther, he's been elevated like crazy. The other 3 guys, they've kind of Barbaro Carbonaro's kind of gotten pushed up and down, but he's not getting the level push that Dragon Lee is.
Oh God, no, yeah.
But he's still kind of a main event level guy. The guys who've kind of gotten screwed is Hechisero on the Panther, to the point where the Panther basically, I think the Panther, they got to do something with that guy because I think he's going to start trending down because he's doing so much with the same group of guys that are mid card guys. He's not gonna be able to improve. And Hechisero, basically, he's making his reputation on the independent scene. He's not really CMLL. He's probably been the worst. He's been the worst.
I would say
Hechisero should be a main event guy.
Somebody they missed the boat on.
Yes,
especially his whole new getup. I guess what I'm saying is not just Dragon Lee himself, but Dragon Lee, Mascara. I did not picture that being
a big draw. But you did picture Ray Bucanero super crazy drawing.
No. God. No, that would have been my fear, is that they're going to have the cage of death or whatever.
Yeah.
To be the last 2 participants.
I thought.
And here's the other thing I like. I loved the main event with it's fun seeing somebody pushed who's not this big, giant, ripped guy.
Yeah.
I mean, because the one of the things I always dug about...
It's cool to see that CML still has the lighter weight still as part of their big picture, you know?
Exactly, because I think
because you think, what happens with Nero Casas and those guys?
Oh, exactly.
But they have Dragon Lee. They did some stuff with Mascara Dorada, but they never gave him that big push, and now he's pretty much gone.
Yes. And
they did a lot with Caristico. Mystico.
And I'm jazzed that this worked. We
gotta get back to their stuff because you're going out of order.
Right, I am. Yeah. But I'm jazzed about the attendance.
Yeah,
I'm surprised and I'm jazzed.
Yeah, so then Atlantis, Caristico, Mascara Dorada beat La Peste Negra. What'd you think of that match?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I always love it. I will love La Peste Negra no matter what.
I thought Mascara Dorada looked great, and it kind of saddens me that he's leaving. But it's weird. It's weird. I'm confused because he kind of... Although now he's starting to mention more Grand Metallic. And in his tweets, he'll add Grand Metallic. El Joven Maravilla Grand Metallic. So I think and they already announced that he's going to be on Raw. He's one of the guys who's going to be... Yeah. It's going to be Grand Metallic, Akira Tozawa, and Jack Gallagher. So
yeah. And you know what? I still enjoy Felino even though he's not what he was.
Yeah. You could tell he's not what he was.
Yeah.
He's the one... Mascara Dorada did that shooting star press on the Parrot, which really upset me. Oh, and I even tweeted. I sent Mascara Dorada a tweet telling him, "Very bad of you to do that." I'm like, I'm sure he didn't give a fuck, but I just like doing that.
And Costas, I don't
interact with the wrestlers online that much, other than privately if they contact me. But it's like, bad Dorada. I think that. The only times I've ever I think Volador Jr. the one time before we started interviewing him was that one time I told him never to hurt Mihei. I was like, don't hurt Mihei. What are you doing, you bastard?
And Negro Costa seemed in his element.
He still looks great. He missed all this time.
And here's the thing: is
I'm guessing he was recovering from all those injuries and he probably needed some time off to.
I was wondering if we were going to see just dancing Negro Casas.
Yeah. But he still was good.
No, he was great. He was great. It's
And it's weird because every time people start talking about, it's kind of Negro Casas seems like he's no longer, he's not going to be like he used to be, and he gives you another performance.
Yeah,
because remember before the Volador Jr. match from earlier in the year, everybody was saying I think Negro Casas, he's starting to show his age, and it's like, guys, you're not going to go 100 in every single match, especially because they're televising every single or showing it online.
And that's why I still say he's the single greatest wrestler I've ever seen. He knows how to pace himself. He doesn't wreck his body for every single match.
Atlantis is still
yes.
I'm just glad they didn't do Atlantis having a bunch of singles matches, because that's really when it kind of because it's it kind of kills the momentum for him. because he's still fine in trios matches, and he could still have a couple good singles matches as long as it's not like the same repetitive one. Mm-hmm. But it's like I prefer him not being like the focus. Every year I don't like him being.
It could make it be like the Atlantis show rather than.
Although I do want to see him like headline one. Like I do think they should use him as an Undertaker type of character.
Oh, I think they'll do it. Yeah.
So hopefully, something. I would have rather seen him versus Super Crazy than Ray Booker versus Super Crazy.
There you go.
Although no,
Super
Crazy already lost his hair, which
I know, but still,
yeah. Like instead, like had they done that. You know what they should have done? Super Crazy was feuding with the Casas family. Mm-hmm. Remember, he took Felino's hair. I thought they should have done Super Crazy versus Puma or Tiger. You know, that would have been perfectly fine. That would have been huge. After that match, anything else you thoughts on the trios match? Pesta Negra versus you don't have anything besides the Mascara Dorada doing a bunch of great dives and stuff.
Well, man.
Barbara Carbonario did his
He not only did his worm, he did his body press.
And he did the plancha off the...
He did the plancha off the... And
he's gonna hurt his knees.
Another thing is if you look closely at it... okay, this is weird because this... When I was taught long time ago, I remember the first time I ever did a drop kick, and this was Dr. Jerry Graham, yells at me like, "What the hell are you doing? You're going to destroy your knees." And I'm going, "What?" And because when I did the drop kick, I just landed like flat on my stomach. He says, "No, left leg straight and have your right leg pointing out." And he says, "It takes all the pressure off your knees."
Oh, wow.
And he was right.
And I think that's what a lot of guys do when they do those those top rope planches.
Absolutely. And I noticed Carbonario did it, and he does it just almost split second, like right before he hits.
Yeah, because they don't land like all like flat.
Yeah, but I occasionally...
Plus it helps it saves your opponent too. Like
it does, yes, absolutely. But sometimes I see guys like, sometimes on indie... No, not bad indie wrestlers. I mean, good indie shows, sometimes even... WWE, where I'll see guys land with both knees hitting the ground on certain moves. Yeah. I don't know, maybe everybody wasn't taught that way, but...
The trios, CML trios titles, I was surprised Sky Team, the team of Mystico, Volador, and Valiente, beat Los Guerreros Laguneros, Euphoria, Gran Guerrero, and Ultimo Guerrero.
I wasn't picturing that either.
I actually thought I thought the Guerreros were going to win.
I thought so too.
I totally thought the way they were like setting it up and how often Volador Jr. and Chris and Mystico have been like at each other. They have not been getting along on those interviews.
Well, and remember, even before they were together, they were always at each other's throats.
They're constantly talking shit about not talking shit, but like even that one interview where Mystico was kind of whining. And Valiente and Volador Jr. just called him out on it, like for being a whiner.
Yes.
It was one of those.
Well, remember when they'd have the Increíbles?
And how often Volador Jr. And you're like, man, there's something up with Volador Jr. Because he just beat the shit out of him. The Rush and Sombra one, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like you just think there's something up with those guys. But the match was really great. I actually thought it was.
And damn, I know this sounds repetitive.
Is Volador Jr. like the best wrestler at work? Like.
Hell yeah.
One of the better guys at just working a really fast match where it's just like he already has the next spot planned. Like the best planned wrestler. You know what I mean?
Not just the best luchador, one of the best wrestlers today. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a...
Mystico looks very improved too. Like,
and I'm glad for him. I mean, my God.
He looks a lot better. I thought Valiente did a really cool tope in that match.
Valiente.
Oh, he did the Valiente special.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
That never gets old to me.
No.
How he does
He doesn't do it as much, but he still busts when he busts out, I mean, I'm just impressed that he can still do it.
He makes it look so easy.
Yeah, I really liked that match. I thought it was one of the better matches.
It's actually just slightly favored over the main, believe it or not.
Really? Wow.
Slightly. That's not...
Can't believe it. I'm going to tell, if we ever see Dragon Lee, I'm going to tell him that.
Okay, I'll be waiting under the ring. I'll be under the ring.
He's not going to care because his brother's in the other match, so he'd be fine. Although he'd be another guy who'd be upset with Volador Jr. He's another one upset with Volador Jr. Main event time. Dragon Lee beat La Mascara.
And
your thoughts?
I freaking love this match.
Match was great.
I love this match.
I think...
I want to say he's not... the participant in this year's match was also a participant in the last year's match. Rush.
Yeah.
This guy is golden.
They had Rush as Dragon Lee second, and La Mascara had Shocker as the second.
Oh my god.
And Rush might have been one of the best. I said he was probably the best second I've seen besides Negro Casas.
Yes.
When he does the Embusca where he's like cheering them on and like.
I call him Gold Rush. This guy is golden. I mean, man. Usually
And people complain about the interference in the match.
And you know what? Usually I'm the type who doesn't like that, but
it kind of worked.
This works.
It kind of worked because it ended up him turning on his own brother too, like towards the end where it was like.
And that look when he shoved him, like after
the post match was amazing. I thought that might have been one of the best things.
When he shoves Rush away. I mean when Rush shoves Dragon, and then reunites with Mascara. That one shot of Dragon Lee. He's holding the mask, but he looks so sad. He looks like...
Aren't Dragon Lee and Rush like the two guys who probably get wrestling better than anybody in Mexico? Like, I think they might be the two guys.
Anybody.
Like, just the way they know how to work the crowd, like, to sell their storyline and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
What was great was Rush comes out. Dragon Lee wins with the Phoenix Plaques. Mm-hmm. Or the Dragon Driver, whatever you want to call it. Which I thought looked really weird because he had to get... La Mascara was a lot bigger for him to grab. So it looked really weird how he grabbed them, but he was able.
But it worked.
It worked. He was able to get, and it looked. I think it also worked because I think La Mascara did it where he wouldn't get hurt. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing Dragon Lee might have done it where he didn't want to hurt him because we had just talked about the Ray Horace injury to Dragon Lee with taking that move. So he beats him. La Mascara unmasked. Rush comes out and he's talking about brotherhood. About how there's a brotherhood and how he's very proud of his brother and how this is one of those great moments about... He's just talking about his carnalismo, brotherhood and all this stuff. Like 2-3 minutes of that and you're just hearing, man, he's talking about... Dragon Lee. And sure enough, he shoves Dragon Lee out of the way and goes over and hugs La Mascara and talks about... Ingobernables are reunited. Again. Yeah.
And then there's a camera shot of Dragon Lee holding Mascara's mask, and even though he won the mask, he looks heartbroken.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
My God.
Mystico then goes out to celebrate with Dragon Lee. The fans start booing, which I thought was, I think
that probably was the wrong idea.
Because I think
should have just left it with him.
I think Dragon Lee gets cheered. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, but then he also gets booed when he's working against a heel because it's so weird. And we even talked about this with a few times when we talked to luchadors that come here. It's like I don't get the internet fans, like the Mexicans, not the, because they constantly complain about guys being gifted stuff, and that's what getting back to the Conan thing. It's like it's a work, guys. Somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna. If you thought the right idea was La Mascara winning over Dragon Lee, you obviously have no clue what wrestling is.
Yeah.
Because La Mascara has been around for 16 years. He's basically plateaued to what he is. He's not going to be higher. If he gets... he's basically where he's been, what he's done. Yeah. And he looks a lot better without the mask, too.
I was going to say, if he does get higher, it's because he lost his
unmasked,
mask.
Yes.
Look at that face.
He's got a heel face.
That is the most obnoxious... son of a bitch face.
He's got a heel face. That's what that's. And Dragon Lee is the young, hot, up and coming wrestler.
Absolutely.
Who represents everything that wrestling is right now, like the fast paced style and everything. When Dragon Lee shows up in Ring of Honor, American fans are going to fall in love with him.
Yep.
He's probably going to be an even bigger star than I think. I think if WWE at some point he's going to end up in WWE because everybody like at some point is going to get talked to about this cruiserweight division and stuff like that. He's going to be a lot bigger. He'll be a lot bigger for CMLL at some point also.
Unless of course this
fucks it up and turns him into
and calls him El Gallo Rojo.
El Gallo Rojo.
The new Red Rooster.
Yes.
Has some
So it's like I actually after that they had interviews with them. And they were talking to Dragon Lee, and he was talking about how he was very disappointed in his brother Rush. Because he's like, I thought we were family. He's like, we're family. He's like, and all that stuff. But it's like, I would think he would be prouder about that I won than and he wouldn't have done what he did to me during that match.
And wasn't that little shove so much more effective than if he beat him down?
Yeah, and then
it looked.
And then he Dragon Lee says he dedicated the match to his family, his fans, and he said I also want to dedicate this match to Volador Jr. because he called me an idiot, and I just proved him wrong.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was awesome. I just love how they just remember this stuff because it's weird because Volador Jr. He's one of those guys who likes. I think one of those guys who likes to just keep it real type of guys, and I think it's you're either gonna like understand what he's like and accept it, or you're gonna take it very personal. And I think the family. The Munoz family kind of takes it seriously. Plus, they did it during one of those weird CML Informa segments. Did we talk about that CML Informa segment?
Which one's that?
The one where the entire family, the Munoz family was...
I don't think we did.
I think that happened 2 weeks ago, no? You guys gotta look. You guys gotta read the recap. I think I wrote a recap of the entire Informa, that episode.
And there was a chance we did talk about it. But then again, I'm Vandal Drummond. Short-term memory loss.
They just kept talking about everything about the family and stuff like that, about Dragon Lee's upcoming match, all this stuff. Mystico, they were about to end the show, and Mystico's like, "Hey, are we done with the show, or can we keep on going?" And the announcer is one of those guys who just lets them do whatever. So then they continue. Mystico looks at his father, Pierroth, and tells him, "Hey, Dad, why don't you tell them what we were like when we were kids?" So he starts telling them about them when they were kids. Apparently, Mystico, when he was a kid, was very rebellious, like to get into trouble and stuff like that. I don't know where it happened, where he had a problem when he was a teen, where he wanted to kill himself. So Pierroth's solution to this problem was to grab a cord, hang it from a rafter in the house, put it around... make a noose, put it on Mystico, and actually hang him
to show him how it hurts.
To tell him what it felt like to die. So do you really want? So he kept him there for a few seconds, then let him go, and told him, "Do you still want to die?"
Holy cow! And
he said no, and Mystico said that brought us closer together. But I'm like, man, that's a real tough love. So I thought
that could backfire.
Yeah. So I think that's where we get why Rush, Dragon Lee, and Mystico are kind of like really like I think Mystico's the one who does a lot of Mystico was talking about his car motorcycle accident and how his entire family who told him he was crazy to ride a motorcycle. He's like, well, I guess and he's like I guess they were right. And so then you hear Dragon Lee how much energy he has and Rush, and you're like, oh, no wonder these guys are kind of like, and then Pierrot talking about his divorce. I guess it's a divorce or whatever because he was talking about his wife not being there. So it's really weird, but it's like you see these guys and you kind of understand why it drives them to be like what they are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just this crazy family. It's just weird that Pierrot is such a shitty wrestler.
That's the shocker.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the
because all three are. I mean, Mystico is technically the weakest of the three, and he's still a very good trios wrestler, and against the right opponent, he could be carried to a good match now.
Yes,
but Dragon Lee and Rush are out of this world. So
God, yeah.
But typical CML. Rush does the Rush and Mascara do these heel things. First of all, they have Mascara work Dragon Lee on the Puebla show for free.
Oh my God, that's LaBelle land.
Yeah, so then they have that, and then they have book Rush on the Technico team, like on the Friday show.
Holy shit!
Which makes at this point they should just have Rush, Mascara, and
especially since they're cognizant it's being streamed and people can see it.
It's just stupid. Like
promoters are weird. Well, I told you about how when LA was really starting, the LaBelle territory was really starting to go into the shitter, and it seemed like almost every Friday night the main event was Chavo Guerrero versus Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
and it got so bad that they said, the Wednesday night shows were aired live, and Jeff Walton saying, this Friday night, this is it. This is the one that's gonna decide it all. This is Piper versus Chavo. Don't miss it. This is your only chance. And then they say, and now we're going to our TV main event. Chavo Guerrero versus Roddy Piper. Seriously.
And I think I would not be shocked if that would... I mean, I'm sure that happens with CML all the time. So.
But isn't it funny how you're actually on TV advertising in the same arena 2 nights later?
The same match that apparently is never gonna. You're never going to get to see.
Yeah.
So overall, I thought the anniversary show was good.
I really enjoyed it a lot.
I thought the last 2 matches were great.
God, yeah.
So that made it up. That made it up. So it was. I think that put it ahead of whatever Triplemania was.
Oh God, yeah. And you know me, I don't crave every match to be a blow away match. I just want it to be competent.
Yeah.
You know. And
especially when the main event delivers, I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, the fact that the trios match was so good, I think that kind of covered the rest of the show. Because like I said, the early part, it was just your typical show where I was enjoying it. It wasn't like. Other than the Ray Bucanero Canadian Destroyers.
I agree.
Yeah, I was like...
I do have to admit, you watch a lot more wrestling than I do these days. So where I'll watch something every other week, you know, I have a lot less to compare it to.
Yeah.
So it might look fresher to my eyes, too, just because I think if I was watching wrestling 5 times a week, yeah, I might get a little more like. Okay.
Meanwhile, perhaps the best match, mass match of the weekend, might have been Trauma 1 beating Canis Lupus for his mask.
So. And
this is online. Mm-hmm. I recommend you guys watch it
on YouTube. IWRG?
There are 3. IWRG. There are 3 versions.
Okay.
There's one that's a handheld version. I watched that. That was the first one that got posted. I watched that. The Cubs fan on his page posted the 56-minute TV version. 56-minute segment. It's not the entire... It's the match, and then the mask, and then interviews.
Okay.
So it's a 56-minute. Okay. And then there's the 43-minute, which is, I think it might be just the match itself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it has... But you have to watch the end of it. Because, first of all, the match was really good. Very bloody. But at the end, Canis Lupus drops his mask, hands it over to Trauma 1. Canis Lupus then has his girlfriend is the one that removes his mask. Canis Lupus then tells his girlfriend to turn around because he has something to ask her. Mm-hmm. She turns around. There is this giant banner asking her if she would like to marry him.
No way.
The announcer for AM Sports says, "No mames," like that. But the way the "no mames" is no, you're fucking kidding me, you know, something like that. You're fucking kidding me.
Oh my God!
And then he takes out the ring. He proposes to her in the ring after he is bloody.
Oh my God!
Having dropped his mask, bloody. One of the greatest endings to the match. On the other side, you have the Traumas talking. The Traumas are just watching. They interview the Traumas, and Trauma 1 is talking about how he wore his Hijo Negro Navarro, the Negro Navarro gear in honor of his father, and the Misioneros, that outfit. The Misioneros, the skull and the
traditional one. Yeah,
he wore that because he figured if he was gonna become Hijo de Negro Navarro, he wanted to be ready for it.
Oh, that is so cool.
Trauma 2 cuts this awesome promo where he's practically crying, telling people, "See, so for those of you who think you know what's going on, I think we just proved to you guys that there's still a little bit left in, you know,
like there's some magic.
There's still some magic left."
Oh, I love it. I love it.
But they were just awesome, and I thought, and of course, my biggest disappointment was that you will not be Trauma 1. That's really the. And I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell Trauma 2. I'm gonna tell Trauma 2 after I watched the second version of that, because I only switched, because I watched the handheld, and then I watched the pieces that I missed, and then I watched the finish of it, which I thought was great. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna tell Trauma 2 that Kurt is very sad that he cannot be Trauma 1, so I'm gonna suggest he makes you Trauma 3.
There you go. Or we could get in the ring at an FPW show, and Trauma 2 could talk about the importance of brotherhood.
Yes. But I thought that, and he talked about that too, like, because
awesome.
Because Trauma 1 was saying that what people don't know, I think Trauma 2 is the older one, I think, I think that's what I can't remember. One of them. I think he might be the older one. But because he calls him Chino, that's because of the curly hair of Chino.
Wait, with that term mame, isn't that
No mames way.
because mame isn't that the verb for
Suck.
Yes, because I told you when
Mamon is like
yeah,
a
because
sucker.
when I was I think it's like it's like the second year Physico and I were wrestling regularly on the Lucha shows. And, so, at the end of the evening, hasta luego, shaking hands with everybody in the dressing room. And the wrestler Cesar Sando Jr., one night in Pomona just says, "Oh, my friend, you always do that." And I'm going, "What?" He goes, "Oh, hasta luego. That's what, like the high school teachers tell you to say. That's formal. Guys don't really say that in real life. No. The way you want to say goodbye is say, te mamo tu verga mañana. I'll suck your dick tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it meant by going, te mamo, and you go, no, te mamo. And so I'm trying to, and I see Piloto and Mercurio just like biting their lips and just trying, and I said, what? Yeah, I'd be like, what are you telling me? So when you said that, I said,
yeah, but it was just funny because you hear, as he's telling the people to lift up the poster or whatever has her picture and the announcement, the question, popping the question, the guy's like, no mames. And I was just laughing.
I hope she said
because
yes.
Conan and those guys that do the podcast boom, they say that all the time, where it's becoming like this trend, like this. It's a hashtag now, like on Twitter. So it's like,
oh, that's funny.
No
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I hope she said yes.
Yeah, she did say yes.
Awesome. I love it. Oh, that's one of the coolest wedding proposals I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That sounds like something Dr. Jerry Graham would have done.
I just thought it was awesome. I was like, oh shit, that's awesome.
I remember. Doc said, I only took my mom to see me wrestle once, and I had to put her on a plane home.
Yes.
And I'm going, oh, why's that? And I just said she just didn't like seeing me get hurt. She goes, oh yeah, she got a little weirded out, and I'm going, go seeing you take bumps. He goes, oh no, the finish, I was tied up on the ropes, and I did a temple to temple, and blood was pouring all over me, and she broke down crying, and I said, oh my God. I'm going, your mother!
Yeah, but it was.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
it's Lucha though. That's kind of something I wouldn't be shocked if it happened in Lucha. I'm sure it's happened in the past too. I'm curious if anybody has like information, like if it's been done in the past.
You mean the
marriage proposal?
Oh, I bet it
after
has.
but after a mass match.
Oh, I wonder.
After losing a mask.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause I thought it was very original. Like,
I love it.
I'm sure it's been done because there's so many mass matches in smaller independent shows and territories.
Well, I have this curiosity that will probably never be fulfilled about all the way indies operate in Mexico, because I was always talking about Hatco Plaza, how they'd have these unique things that I never saw on major shows. Like the loser of a hair versus hair match. They wouldn't shave his head all the way bald. They'll shave it, but leave little chunks of it.
Super Crazy kept like a chunk of it,
yes.
But then they shaved it in the back.
Yeah, and then what they would do for the loser, and sometimes it was a Technico, he would have to come back to Hardcore Plaza the next week and sell Cokes with his bad haircut. He wasn't allowed to get rid of the chunks. And I thought that is an awesome...
Can you imagine that guy? He's probably wearing a cap.
Exactly. I thought,
the entire week
the poor guy's
at work.
Working.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was hot out at the time. Can you imagine wearing like a baseball cap?
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees out.
If you've worked in an office, can you imagine? What happened to you?
Yes.
Like, I lost a hair match.
You lost a what?
Yes, and now I must keep my hair like this for a whole week. So the next show, what if they do a monthly show? It'd be like, oh shit.
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. I actually thought this was a fun week of Lucha. I mean, we saw Jeff Cobb work a Lucha show, and
that was awesome.
We should mention Jeff Cobb. We were talking to Jeff Cobb, and we were talking about after the match he had with he teamed up with Gallo Tapado Jr. versus Los Luchas. This was in between because he came to LA for the Battle of Los Angeles, and he didn't work the Saturday show. So he came to UIPW to work that show. So we were just amused at how great he was with just the interaction, because he was like just confused the entire time.
It was awesome because he comes in with this serious collegiate wrestler look. In fact, when I looked at his haircut...
Oh, he's an Olympian.
Yeah, I stand corrected, yes.
Yeah.
But when I looked at him, and I looked at his haircut, I thought, wait a minute.
You wouldn't think he was that, because he's such a nice guy. Like,
oh, he wasn't.
Yeah.
But I thought, if you had that haircut and that burly look, and you took away those tights and put those old wool tights that the 1930s wrestlers, like the Gus Sonnenbergs, he would have fit in with that look. But what blew my mind... for those who haven't seen Gallo Tapado Jr., he's like Gallo Tapado Sr. in that he comes in as this rooster, not like Terry Taylor, but it is like a comedy thing where he's pranking the heels and goofing on them and letting these,
well, he was the heel.
Yeah, he was the heel. But that's the funny part is I saw Gallo Tapado Sr. a lot when, like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing, but it was always in the babyface role. But what was so funny was Jeff Cobb played off it beautifully.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to make of this guy.
Yeah, and the great thing was when we were talking to him back afterwards, he was saying that Gallo Tapado would just tell him clothesline or do like a certain spot, and he didn't understand. He didn't know how exactly he thought he was going to get a clothesline, or out of that move. It's like, but it like, I don't know what he thought, but I mean, it was great. I mean, it was very entertaining.
I would have never guessed that.
Right, they were working with low luchas too, so it's it helps when you're working with luchas.
And India was the ref, and even though he didn't do that much, it's like the chemistry in that ring at once was awesome.
It was a good comedy match. Because even like,
and it wasn't just a comedy match where they're just selling to the crowd. They were actually doing really.
It was
nice
comedy. It was comedy because Gallo Tapado was like, he was supposed to be like this tough guy, and he would tag out so Cobb could be the tough guy, and he would run in and like try to get the pin or whatever.
Yes. And Cobb took the clean pin too. It's like, and you had mentioned, man, I wish we interviewed him. It would have been nice just to turn on the tape.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the stuff I preferred like just talking to him because we were talking so much like just conversation about wrestling and stuff like that.
Laid back guy, very laid interesting
back.
guy.
I think it had we like seen him and been like, oh, Jeff Cobb, hey, can we do an interview early on? I think it would have been fine. But I think afterwards, once we joked about we might have been Triplemania. Mm-hmm. And we started making jokes about certain stuff in Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. Nothing bad. It wasn't anything bad. Right. It was about some stuff that we can't really talk about.
Oh, exactly.
But it was like I think at that point it was like, I don't really think we should do that because he was such a easygoing guy. And I think he would have done it.
But he was so interesting because I meet so many people. It's like I want to be there in WWE. That's my ultimate goal. And it's interesting how he's more interested in just seeing the world. Like, the wrestling's a good way to. He said, "I'd love to wrestle on every continent."
Yeah,
and
I really dug that when he was talking about like when we asked him, "So how'd you like Triplemania?" Mm-hmm. And he didn't. He said the food in Mexico was great.
That's right. Yes.
Like he didn't even think. And I go, and so I'm like, "What'd you think?" And I told him, "I thought your match was pretty good." And he's like, "Whoa, thanks." He was just like, but it was like, there was some. He's like, I go, what? I asked him, what did you think of not being introduced? And he's like, he wasn't really that worked up about it.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember the first time I ever finally got the nerve to talk to Tony Rocco at Cauliflower Alley Club. Mm-hmm. He's a journeyman that I had seen when I was a kid. And so I'm starting to I finally get the nerve to talk about like his time in Mexico with Rene Guajardo. And he'd briefly say, oh yeah, he was very good. But then every place I talked about, whether there's Europe or Mexico, he'd say, but it was really like upsetting because the politics there at the time. Like he was there when there was the massacre of those students in Mexico at the '68 Olympics. Oh. But then in Europe, he's talking about something positive politically happening. And I think, that's interesting. He kind of associates all the places he wrestled with what was
going on,
and how Jeff Cobb it was. Oh, I like the food here. It's fascinating to see these other facets.
Yeah, I also enjoyed the fact that while you were interviewing Mariah Moreno, mm-hmm. I was talking to Ripper Psicosis about his snake Kendra. I thought that was the funniest thing. Like, because
I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
Because we stopped the interview, and then I asked them. I go, so, because he was telling me about the snakes, and he's like, I go, so that snake that Mija had, that is Kendra? And he's like, yes. it grows. It grew to be that, and I'm like, really? And then he starts explaining to me about pythons and all this stuff, and we're just like talking about pythons. And I didn't think he was going to be very talkative because dude looks like. I think he might be.
He looked like a badass.
He looked like
a real badass to me.
LA Park and Psicosis Ripper are probably the two guys that we've met that I thought, man, these guys I would not want to fuck around.
Oh god, yeah. First time I ever saw La Parka without his mask.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, okay. Kind of like I've said about Al Murrieta. I picture him in the spaghetti western, A Showdown with Clint Eastwood. But Clint Eastwood doesn't shoot him. He takes the gun and shoves it up Clint Eastwood's ass.
You know, it's weird because every time we do these interviews, I think people always want to know, how do you get the interview with the guys? Well, first of all, I speak Spanish, so it helps.
That helps.
But and even like sometimes we'll get Carrie from UIPW, always willing to help.
I always want to say a big thank you, Carrie. Too.
Yeah, Superboy too. Like
yes,
when
absolutely.
Although Superboy, since he knows I speak Spanish, he just points the person out and tells them, "Hey," or tells me, "Hey, there he is."
Yes, that's right.
And I know more enough. As long as he says it's okay, then I'll ask.
Absolutely.
Because that means the person's cool with him.
No.
Yeah.
I want to thank people like Carrie and Superboy who, like, we just don't barge into the dressing room and say, let's get an interview. We want to...
I think we end up lasting a little too long backstage, too, sometimes. But the guys don't mind. I think they kind of figure we're part of, like, the... Some people think we work for the promotions sometimes. So it's kind of... It cracks me up sometimes.
That is funny. Because,
Because even Ronnie Mendoza, when we were watching him, like, I was watching... While you were gone, I was... Mm-hmm. Seeing him at the merch, trying to sell merch, and nobody was buying it. And I thought, man, I should just go ask him right there. And I didn't. I asked him afterwards because he did an interview with Boyo.
Yes, I saw him right before.
For Lucha's 2000, Lucha's 2000. And I asked him, hey, can I do an interview? And I told him, if you want, go get ready, go get changed. And he's like, no, let's just do it now.
Yeah.
And so, like, the interview, I think, went 7 or 8 minutes. And then we kept talking. And then we kept talking for about 3 or 4 minutes. But it's because he had a lot of interesting stuff. And I didn't really want to like, let's talk about your time in DTU and all this stuff. It's like I wanted to know about the Cruiserweight Classic,
right?
His time in Japan, which I found very interesting when he was talking about how he took a bicycle ride.
Oh, that's
and
right.
All that
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
And all this other stuff. And
now that one you're putting up soon. I look forward to reading that one.
Yeah, and then we started talking afterwards.
I don't want to give spoilers because you were telling me about...
Yeah, then I started telling him about the trauma.
So I don't want to give any spoilers.
And then I started telling him about you being one of the traumas because I was ribbing you about never
yes,
sending you pictures and stuff like that. And then we were talking about Mascara Dorada and all this, the Cruiserweight Classic stuff. So, yeah, he was really cool. Thunder Rosa, I asked her afterwards in Spanish where she was from, just to, like, see what... And when she told me Tijuana, I was like, oh, okay. I don't know if she's mentioned I think she might have mentioned in the interview. I think she mentioned that. I
remember mentioning that she trained up north San Francisco area.
Yeah. Well, it's on the interview that people are listening to. I don't know why you're still recording.
Because sometimes I forget what part of was conversation when we had this thing. Like, I'm probably not aware that I have this thing on right now. Of course, I haven't slept in over 24 hours.
Yeah, so if this show sounds weird, it's because Kurt didn't sleep for 24 hours, and I pretty much forgot half of what we were going to talk about.
I don't know what excuse to use on on our other podcasts, but tonight I'm using the excuse that I haven't slept in over 24 hours. Yeah. And it's kind of creepy.
So you got it.
I better go home and try to go to sleep, but I'm not sleepy yet.
So you got any other news? Anything else you want to talk about, or is that?
No, I think that's it. I think
wind it up.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to wind it up.
Next show, maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Let's do it. And
no, do we have anybody on? Oh, we might add the Mariah Moreno interview to that one.
Let's do that. It's very good to have her back in Southern California.
Basically, if we interview somebody who speaks English, we're just going to add it to the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I don't really want to write it.
That would be... Well, if I remember, Thunder Rosa was...
I kept that...
Should it be Spanish or English? And I said, English, Fredo, you're going to be transcribing way too much stuff if she doesn't in Spanish.
Yeah, I was going to keep that on I'm keeping it on my uncut version of it. But I think on this version...
I think you should put it on.
You should, because we both...
Yes, I think you should put it on.
She was probably confused about it.
That was funny. That was funny. The first time I ever saw, not in wrestling, but in roller derby, where kayfabe was accidentally dropped, was they aired it on Channel 5 here, which was English, KTLA, but they also aired the same roller game on Channel 22, which was the Spanish station. And so they would do promos right there on the track in front of the crowd in mid-time. And they didn't do much editing because I'm watching the Spanish feed on Channel 22 late one night, and there's the face and the heel. They're going to have a big match race, blood feud and everything, and they're going to hype it. And they're saying, okay, they're talking to saying, wait, is this the English or the Spanish? And then the announcer
you hear that?
This is the Spanish, yeah. Not just here. It's not like in the background. It's like they're actually saying, "Is this going to be the Spanish one?" Okay, Spanish. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to destroy you next week.
Well, that's how it is. It's funny because I think people who do podcasts are actually putting more time into doing it, like trying to make it sound perfect. But it's like it's just a natural thing,
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And back then, a lot of people don't realize if something went wrong on a wrestling show, they did not edit.
Yeah, it's like
warts and all. You saw it. And here we are, warts and all, ladies and gentlemen, and we are proud of our warts. I wanted to make it sound more glamorous. Though. We're proud of our contusions.
By the next show, I'll be talking about season 3 of Lucha Underground and the Cruiserweight division.
And I'll say, "There's a season 3."
Yes, and you'll probably be talking about something else that you'll be watching Puebla again.
Yes, I'll talk about Puebla.
Kurt will be back on his Puebla routine.
Yeah. In fact, thank you, Mark Cole, for reminding me as I was watching the 83rd anniversary show on Monday. He reminded me, don't skip Puebla.
Did you watch it?
No, Mark Cole, I'm sorry. But just for you, Mark Cole, I will watch it. That's what I do like about this modern age. If I miss it live, I can still watch it.
I was going to watch half of Raw just to keep you updated on Raw. But then I realized I didn't... you know what? Oh, I got to watch that today. Harley and the Davidsons. I was watching that instead. The document... it's like a movie, a miniseries on the guys who created Harley Davidson.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's on Discovery Channel.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
And I kind of missed this 2 days. So.
It's funny how we're talking earlier about Mystico. Yeah, motorcycles look like so much fun.
Yeah.
But no, that's a bad idea.
I will say I do like Mystico because he's a fan of the TV series Vikings.
Oh, is he really?
And I'm a fan of that too. So.
I
like how this is how it's gonna be like. Everybody's gonna be like, I wonder why Fredo likes this wrestler. Maybe he likes some TV show. It's like, I like that.
I think that's a good reason.
Yeah. Or why do you like Sobrano Jr.? Oh, because he's...
Hey, after his retirement, that's what I dug about Tony Rocco. I said, hey, this guy knows his shit about politics.
Yes,
cool.
It's like just random stuff.
When Mystico,
And not
I'm a fan of his
Mystico.
because I thought, oh wait, we were talking about Mystico?
Mystico, the current one.
The current one, yeah. I just thought being put in that role was putting him in such an awkward position, and so it's like, I was cheering him no matter what.
Yeah.
And I was so bummed when I heard about the motorcycle wreck because I thought, oh man, on top of having...
And it took him a while to just get comfortable in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's interesting the reason we like wrestlers, but I think a few people will admit it.
Yeah. If only La Máscara would say that he likes like a TV show I like, then I'd end up liking him more. Although I don't have a problem with La Máscara. Yeah. He's not like...
Well, also...
There's plenty of other wrestlers.
Without that mask...
Yeah.
Man, him next to Rush, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
It used to never make sense putting them together.
He just has to change his name, though. Although maybe him naming him La Máscara, people could just say he's La Máscara because he's ugly or something, like just promos. Although he's not. I don't think he's not. I don't want to make it sound like, I think he's ugly. It's like just
no, he's not. He just
as a promo, like just say it.
It's what Ari Romero said when Gory Guerrero would see a babyface who should be a heel. The way Gory Guerrero, I guess, would say it was, "You have a son of a bitch face.
Yeah,
you're a heel."
Yeah,
and
some guys are just closed. Yeah. Some guys are the handsome guys should be the good looking guys. You wonder why they're masked.
Yes,
and then the ugly guys, you wonder why they're masked because they have great facial expressions.
Atlantis. Ask anybody who's seen him.
Well, now he's older, so
he's older, but he was like movie star good looking. Yeah. You know,
he's older now. So
he is older. So so he's debonair.
Yeah.
He's at that stage of
because Psicosis,
the most interesting man in the world.
The Psicosis Ripper guy has a totally heel look.
Totally. Yeah.
He could be like an assassin type of character.
Totally.
It wouldn't hurt him because he still has the look. The look would work.
Well, even when Kerry approached him, he kind of looked at us my first thought was...
I thought he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I thought, he doesn't look thrilled to see us.
Yeah.
And I thought, I would be scared if he got mad at us for some reason.
Yeah.
But once he started
I won him over when I said the Vatos Locos Vipers feud.
So cool, yeah.
When he saw me, that's when he said, oh, well, he's like, people who know, I'm glad you remembered or something like that. And I was like, wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, he didn't take a lot of compliments. Like, it wasn't a big deal for him.
Well, it's interesting because, while I don't understand the language, it's like we were talking about trauma. When you interviewed the Traumas, I actually could pick up a lot of what they said. And you were saying they're...
I mean, Trauma 2 hugged me when I told him I remember watching them in when they first started in IWRG. I mean... That's right. Yeah, yes. He hugged me because he was like, yeah, this is a fan. This is somebody who knows. And it's like... whereas Ripper was like, I don't...
Yeah, it's just different. I mean, the conversation got flowing and he seemed into it, but he seemed like so much more like a whatever type of guy. Where
most guys are more in the middle, like Jeff Cobb and a few of the younger guys. When you tell them, "Hey, that was a great match," they're like, "Oh, thanks," and they shake your hand, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's like those two polar opposites.
Traumas have like a Negro Casas enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It's fun to see somebody who's been in the business a long time and still loves it.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We're having another...
Really long, extra 10 minutes.
Almost 10 minutes, so you got a little something bonus. You could see it as a bonus 10 minutes, or you can see it as we held you hostage.
Be glad Kurt didn't talk about the Kelly family. That's...
Get into the fever, forget about siesta. Dos, tres, gonna take off to the sky. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Until next time, take it easy, you Hepcats.